talk to us and our many product builders that are listening. Like, how did AI get on your radar? How did you go from that stage of just knowing about AI through to product development and sort of integrating it and leveraging it to kind of accelerate your business?
Sure. So probably at this point, 3-ish years ago, my job really is just to kind of go out there and see what's coming, try to figure out what's coming, what's going on. And OpenAI got on our radar around the GPT-2 timeframe and started playing with that, trying to get in on some of the early betas, understand what we could do there. Really felt like that's where things were going to go. Really almost the first time that I saw what generative AI could do. It's magic, right? It feels like magic. And it's like, how do we figure out how to get this into our product? So we shortcut it, candidly. We acquired a company. So we had a company called Replier that was using GPT-3. They just early days of GPT-3. It was still whenever GPT-3 was in beta. So by acquiring them, we were able to kind of shortcut the line, start using it. Plus, we were able to acquire a little bit of talent that we needed, some developers. We had in-house guys working on it, and we're learning, but it's always nice to try to shortcut that. And people had been living in that world. So this is early 21.
So are these this team that you acquired are customizing models through a service offering, or are they?
The first version was just straight using GPT-3, and then we were working through the outputs and trying to get really good at, whatever you want to call it, prompt engineering, prompt design, but utilizing prompt design to come up with the kind of results we wanted. And they were doing it in the world of, like, you get a customer review on your Google for your business and automatically replying back based off some sentiment analysis, so looking at the star rating, looking at what the words are based off that sentiment, coming up with a reply. And so that's what we acquired. Candidly, we scrapped most of what they were doing because that's not really our business, but the concepts behind it were the same. And so for the last, at this point, over 2 years, we've really just kind of been working on really honing that in and trying to better understand what models make sense, when it makes sense to train versus when it makes sense just to use things out of the box, when it makes sense to use single shot or zero shot or multi-shot prompts and those types of things. And so there's no books really to get out there and read. Unfortunately, it's so new. There are some good groups and some good people that we're able to bang ideas off of. And so we just kind of brute forced it to get to the point.
So maybe like talk us through your product a little bit. Like what's the products that you were trying to put some innovation into?
Yeah.
What are they trying to achieve? And then, as the leader of innovation in your company, once you've identified ChatGPT, like how do you go about getting your company on board with the innovation and leveraging the AI and actually getting it into product?
Probably the best way to start was getting people on board, because that was so insanely easy. This technology is so kind of blow your mind out of the gate. And I think at this point we look at it and it's still really nascent, but even in its kind of early stage, we look at it and we're kind of getting used to it or accustomed to it. But if you go back, even 6 months, like pre-ChatGPT release, seeing you ask a question and then getting something generated blew people's minds. People would have thought, I was the greatest magician of all time, being able to say, hey, generate a Pinterest pin description. So that's what we do. We create social media posts, mostly around organic content. We do some of the ad space too. And so what we're using it for today and what we continue to build on is around marketing. We work mostly with very small businesses. Like, people talk about like SMBs. SMBs usually are way too big for us. We work in like a whole new space. Like, we call it like VSBs, like very small business, solopreneurs, 1, 2, 3 person companies, people who don't have time and usually honestly don't know how to market themselves. And so we've created tools for scheduling, historically scheduling and being able to batch process things like that. What generative AI got us into was the ability to start to actually do some things for them, to create these based off maybe a product they're selling, a particular sale they're running, a new line they're releasing, a new blog post they might have written, and take that content, create all of the organic social media pieces, look at what's performing, look at some sentiment analysis, and then maybe even push some through some ads. But so that's kind of what we do in a nutshell.